Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into the career of Roger Chang.
Okay.
And just looking at his resume,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be a fun one
Yeah.
because it reads like a highlight reel of tech-focused media from the early days of cable TV to the podcasting boom that we're living in right now.
Right.
And get this,
Yeah.
our only source material for this deep dive is Roger's resume.
You'd be surprised what you can learn from a well-crafted resume.
Right.
It's more than just a list of jobs. It's a timeline of someone's professional evolution. You can see their skills and their adaptability, especially in a field like media that changes so quickly.
Okay, so let's rewind
Okay.
to 1998.
All right.
This is where Roger's journey begins, right in the thick of the late 90s tech boom. Working on shows like Call for Help and The Screensavers for Tech TV.
Oh.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Like if you loved tech back then, those are
Those were the places to be.
iconic.
Yeah. Back when getting your tech fix meant actually tuning into dedicated cable channels, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you look at Roger's roles during that time and you see this pattern of like really rapid adaptation and growth.
Yeah.
He starts as a segment producer, which is a vital role, but it's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then boom, he's managing editor and then on-air talent.
Wow.
That's not just climbing the ladder, that's switching ladders entirely.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So not only is he comfortable in production, it sounds like, but then also being in front of the camera,
Yeah.
like live in a high-pressure environment.
Totally. Yeah, and speaking of pressure,
Yeah.
he was like instrumental in turning the Screensavers into the #1 show on the network,
Wow.
which we're talking 44+ million U.S. homes tuning in.
Oh my gosh. How do you even process that kind of success?
I don't even know, like, what do you...
Like, how do you even wrap your head around that?
I mean, it's a testament to the show's popularity for sure, but
Yeah.
what does that even say about his ability to contribute to a winning formula?
Right. And remember, this was a time of, like, intense competition in cable television.
Oh, yeah.
The Screensavers tapped into something special to get those kinds of viewership numbers.
Yeah.
There had to be this really strong understanding of the audience, a knack for delivering exactly what they wanted. It makes you wonder, like, going back to those early segment producer days, what insights was he bringing? Did he have, like, his finger on the pulse of what this community actually wanted?
Right.
Was he a master storyteller that was somehow able to, like, extrapolate from that and then break down these complex topics in a way that really resonated with all those people?
And, you know, it makes me want to go back and look at, like, old forum posts.
Oh, my gosh.
And see what people were saying about the show back then. Like, what was it about it that really clicked with people? I think those early experiences, it's clear that they must have shaped his approach to media. And it's also worth noting that this was a period of, like, huge technological advancement, right? Digital video editing was becoming more accessible. The internet was starting to make noise as a potential rival to traditional media.
Which leads us perfectly to Roger's next chapter.
Okay.
As the internet is starting to take center stage, he transitions seamlessly from cable to online, producing shows like DLTV for Ziff Davis, even secures a sponsorship from Ford.
Wow.
It wasn't just adapting to a new medium, it was understanding the business side of things too.
Exactly. And to secure a sponsorship from a company as big as Ford demonstrates a keen understanding of marketing, audience engagement, and the ability to, like, forge these valuable partnerships.
Yeah.
Especially in the wild west of the early internet. That's no easy feat.
It really highlights that entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
Where it's not just about producing content, it's about making it financially viable in a landscape that's changing so rapidly. And this is where you really start to see Roger's knack for spotting trends early.
Yeah.
And understanding their potential.
Yeah.
Even when others might not.
Absolutely. And what's, I think, even more impressive is his willingness to experiment with new formats and platforms. Like, take, for example, his work on We Come From the Future for the popular sci-fi website io9.com. This was right when online video was still kind of finding its legs, way before YouTube became the behemoth it is today. And he recognized that there was this passionate, underserved audience of sci-fi fans that were just hungry for content.
Right.
Talk about being ahead of the curve.
Like he had this built-in radar or something for being able to find those pockets of passionate communities online and deliver exactly what it was that they were craving.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And not only that, not afraid to experiment and find new ways to engage them.
It's inspiring.
What's fascinating is how this early work in niche online content foreshadows this rise of podcasting, a medium that also thrives on dedicated communities.
Totally.
Speaking of which,
Yep.
let's move on to the next chapter.
Okay.
In Roger's career, his deep dive into the world of podcasts.
So we're back, digging deeper into the fascinating career of Roger Chang, who, as we've seen,
Yeah.
really thrives in this world of tech-focused media, whether it's the bright lights of cable TV, the wild west of early internet shows, or the more intimate world of podcasts.
Right, exactly.
And speaking of podcasts, that's exactly where we find Roger now at the helm of Daily Tech News Show.
Yeah.
He's been the executive producer for almost a decade, which is, in the world of podcasting, that's
Well, if that's like dog years, it's gotta be.
it's a lifetime.
It really is. It speaks to such a deep understanding of what makes that medium tick, how to engage listeners with only audio to work with,
Yeah.
how to build a loyal audience, and how to consistently deliver compelling content day after day after day.
And it's not even just about longevity.
Yeah.
It's about impact. Like, Daily Tech News Show has a very dedicated following, and looking at Roger's resume again,
Right.
it's clear he's not just sitting back in the executive producer chair.
Right.
He's got his hands dirty in every aspect of this.
Absolutely. You look at this resume and it highlights his involvement in everything from guest booking and content strategy to even the more technical aspects of audio and video production, managing the show's online presence. It's like he's taken all of that multi-platform experience from the web show days
Yeah.
and just brought it right into the podcasting world.
It's almost like this level of dedication from someone who is in an executive producer role,
Right.
especially in the world of podcasting, which can be very scrappy.
Oh, totally.
I mean, that's pretty incredible.
I think it speaks to a real deep passion for the project.
Yeah.
This commitment to leveraging every possible avenue to reach a wider audience.
Yeah.
He's not just creating a podcast,
Yeah.
he's cultivating a brand,
Yeah.
a community.
It's like he's using every tool in the toolbox to try and create this direct line
Yeah.
to the listeners.
And it works.
And it's working. What can we learn from this podcasting playbook?
I think one of the key takeaways here is the importance of diversification.
All right.
He isn't just relying on audio alone. He's incorporating video elements, engaging with listeners on social media,
Right.
and just constantly finding new ways to expand the show's footprint. And I think this approach, this isn't just a trend.
Right.
This is going to be essential for long-term success in this media landscape. We're just inundated with content.
We are just drowning in content.
How do you stand out?
Right. You can't just make something great and hope people stumble across it.
Exactly.
You've got to meet your audience where they are,
100%.
whether that's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the heck pops up next week. You got to be there.
It's true. And you know what? Roger's career is a masterclass in that he understands that each of these platforms has its own language, its own culture.
Yes.
And he's adapted to thrive in each one.
It's wild. Going back to the IO9 example, he recognized that power of these niche communities online
Yeah,
before it was a thing.
totally.
Way before it was a thing.
Years ahead of the curve.
He's always one step ahead.
Mhm.
It's from linear television to web shows and now podcasting.
Yeah.
This adaptability is remarkable. He's not just riding the waves of this changing landscape. He's anticipating them.
Totally.
He's making waves.
Yeah.
And it takes guts to do that.
Yes.
And imagine being in his shoes back in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
making the leap from the established world of cable TV to this uncharted territory of internet shows.
Back then, online video was unproven, almost fringe, but he recognized the potential there. He wasn't afraid to dive headfirst into the unknown and build something new.
That seems to be the common thread throughout his career.
Yeah.
This incredible ability to identify these emerging trends
Yeah.
and then capitalize on them.
And
He's
capitalize.
not just following the crowd. He's forging his own path.
Forging his own path. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's not just writing solo either. He's bringing people along with him.
Yeah.
He's building these communities around his work, from the dedicated viewers of the Screensavers to the loyal listeners of Daily Tech News Show. He understands the importance of connecting with people who share his passions.
And that's something that I think is so powerful and not talked about enough.
Yeah.
When we talk about success in any field, it's not just about the talent.
Yeah.
or the hard work. It's also about building that community, that tribe,
Totally.
a group of people that are just as invested in the journey as you are.
100%. It makes you think, right?
Yeah.
Like, what can we learn from this as we're all like navigating our own career paths, our own creative pursuits?
As we head into this final part of our deep dive, I want to explore that question a little bit further.
Yeah.
What can we as like media consumers, as professionals, as individuals, what can we glean from Roger's story?
Yeah. What are the key takeaways that we can apply to our own lives?
We'll be back after a quick break to unpack that very question. And we're back, wrapping up our deep dive into the career of Roger Chang.
It's been quite a ride.
It really has.
From those early days of cable TV to the wild west of the internet and now podcasting.
He's done it all.
He really has. A true pioneer.
His story is just like, it really highlights the power of embracing new skills,
Yeah.
anticipating trends, and then most importantly, I think, understanding how to connect with audiences on a deeper level.
100%. And he makes it look easy, doesn't he? But it's not.
It's not. No.
It takes a lot of foresight.
It's like he's got this internal compass or something.
Yeah.
Always pointing him towards like the next big thing.
Right. That next opportunity.
The next opportunity to engage.
Yeah. And it's always about engagement, right?
Yes.
It's not enough to just create content these days.
You got to connect.
You have to connect with your audience on a deeper level, build that community.
And that's what I find so inspiring about his journey. It's like this reminder that success isn't just about what you create, it's who you connect with along the way.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest takeaways here for me is that power of niche communities, right?
Yes.
Like he's found success by really honing in on a specific, passionate audience. Think about it. The screensavers, he's tapping into those tech enthusiasts.
Right, right.
Then IO9, diving deep with the sci-fi world. And then now Daily Tech News Show, serving up those daily insights to a community that just can't get enough.
I love that.
Every step of the way, he found his people.
He found his people in a world.
Alive.
Yes.
In this track.
That's even better. In a world that's so saturated with content.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
People are just looking for that.
Yeah.
That sense of belonging. A place to connect with others who share their passions.
Where they feel seen.
It's no longer enough to just like blast out a message.
Nope.
You got to create that dialogue.
It's a two-way street.
A shared experience.
Exactly.
And that's what Roger gets.
He gets it.
He understands that.
He's not just creating content, he's fostering a sense of community around it.
And he's not afraid to roll up his sleeves and get involved.
Oh, absolutely not. He's in the trenches.
From engaging with listeners on social media
Yeah.
to creating that welcoming space for guests on his podcast, he's really exemplifying that idea that building those relationships is just as important as the content itself.
It's huge. And you know what? It's a great reminder for all of us that success, it's not just one thing. It's a bunch of things coming together.
It's a recipe.
It's a recipe.
Yeah.
Talent, hard work, those are important ingredients.
Of course.
But so is that ability to connect, build trust, create a shared purpose, that's what brings it all home.
Yeah. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, I think the big takeaway here
What are we leaving everybody with?
for our listeners,
Yeah.
for anyone really who's navigating their own careers, their creative pursuits.
Yeah. Are you an artist? Are you an entrepreneur?
Find your tribe,
Find your tribe.
find your voice,
Yes.
and don't be afraid to let it be heard.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Roger's story, I think, proves that passion and adaptability are so valuable in today's world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Embrace those new challenges, stay curious, and never, ever underestimate the power of building those meaningful connections, because that's what it's all about.
Nicely said. And on that note, that concludes our deep dive into the career of Roger Chang.
What a journey.
What a journey. It really has been.
He's an inspiration.
Inspiring.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
And hopefully a reminder to us all that it's never too late to find your niche, share your voice with the world.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be deep diving into your career, uncovering those unique skills and experiences that got you where you are.
Now, wouldn't that be something?
That would be fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the things that ignite your passion.
Couldn't agree more.